So while everybody else was kind of recovering from their New Year's Eve, New Year's celebrations, I spent mine trying to recover from the damage from New Year's Eve day. One of the things was basically redoing my motor mount. This piece here is what actually ended up cracking when I dropped it, or it fell. It's a lot more difficult than what it looks because when I pieced it together, all these PCV pieces are double reinforced, so there's a tube within these tubes, plus everything was glued with the PCV cement. So in order to repair just this 45-degree collar here, I had to take a die grinder and make hundreds of cross cuts along these two edge sides over here and just chip away little pinky nail size plastic chunks in order to salvage the underneath part and just remove this collar there. So that took a long time, probably 4 or 5 hours just doing that. And then I had to, the following day, go back and find all the pieces. All of this had to be redone. All these mounts had to be taken off in order for me to get the back off. So I went ahead and just put all new hardware back on, and on the front as well. The only upgrade I did, because these are normally going to rust out because they're not stainless steel, and there is no stainless steel that matched these, so the holes would not align. So I just went back with the old regular zinc coated ones. But I did upgrade to stainless steel wing nuts, so that's one thing that won't rust. And these collar things won't rust either. But anyways, that was about 3/4 a day just fixing that one piece there. But we're all back together again and ready to roll. The second repair I did was the motor. What happens was, prior to going out that last day, I had done a backcountry trip, and when I run along the flats out there, a lot of times I'll get gunk built up in the water pickup for the water pump and the impeller and then the circulation there. It gets all gummed up inside there and I don't see it, and if I'm not paying attention to the pee hole, it'll basically run itself dry and just burn itself out, and that's kind of what happened. It plugged up, I wasn't seeing the water flowing, and then it basically just cooked the motor. So I had to take it apart, flush it all out. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it did any serious damage. The impeller's cooked a little bit, but I got it cleaned up a bit, so now it's functional. Got a new part on order, but I think I could still use it for some general motoring around, so that's still functional. That took quite a long time to go through as well, but that was my New Year's Day. And the last and third project I'm working on is the bridge cart.
So as you can see that it's really not peeing very much. I'd like to see a lot more pee, but it's working. I just gotta pay attention to the heat range to make sure it doesn't get overheated. But today will be a good, nice and easy test run, and then tomorrow I can go a little bit farther, and then hopefully Wednesday or Thursday I'll get the parts in to fix it correctly. So today, doing some test driving on everything. The new motor mount, or the repaired motor mount, and the repaired motor, just to make sure things are working. Have a couple days stretch of some decent weather, so I'm going to try to take advantage of it, but I don't want to do anything serious until I know everything's working. The other thing we're going to do, I'm just checking out the flats around here. Looking actually for barracudas. I'm going to be throwing big plugs. Water's still real dirty from all the wind, constant wind. And I didn't see any movement as I was coming across the flats, which is not good. It's still 80 degrees over, so we haven't had a cold streak. Usually what happens during the winter times is the cold streak will hit, and then sharks and barracudas will move up onto the flats, and you could really target them, and it's a really good fun time. But the weather's never changed since spring, summer, so it's no reason for them to be here yet, and I'm not seeing anything. No sharks, no barracudas, but it's a good test zone, so I'll work this flat in the evening here, and then maybe shark channel later on. So we'll see what happens. Since we haven't caught a fish for 2017 yet, I'll come out to the channel here, bring out the old little fluke, and see what we can come up with. Holy moly, we got a fish on. We got a fish on. It's a nice one too. First fish of 2017. Mr. Jack. Hooked well. Let's get you back in the water, my man. Well, that be the first fish of 2017, baby. Be free. And it didn't turn out to be a horrible day after all.
Okay, so today's video was a little bit lackluster. I've been spending a lot of time basically just doing damage control from the end of 2016 and just getting everything fixed up and caught up on stuff. So I think I'm actually pretty good. I just got to wait for some parts for the motor and then I should be right back on the game again. But this will allow me to kind of do something which I think I'll be doing in more of the future videos, is to let you kind of get involved in my thought processes and how I figure out what I'm going to be fishing for. And I'll do this either the night before or the day of, just before I leave, because there's really no purpose of really getting too involved 2, 3, a week, 2 weeks before, because it's all dependent on the weather of that day, and it's so volatile it's hard to determine. So, but anyways, I'll go through just the reportings that I looked through, and basically my decision-making processes on what I'm going to target and where I'm going to target those, and what tackle and all that stuff I'm going to use for the following day. So I'll walk you through just basically a lot of computer homework, and I'll just kind of walk it through with you, and then like I said, I'll probably start incorporating this into my future videos. I think it'll help out a lot of people that are coming down to the Keys. So anyways, check this out. Alright, let's take a look at the winds for tomorrow. I generally use Wind Finder. I'm keying in on the Key West Naval Air Station, which will be more focused on the Atlantic side. It's a good indicator for the winds in general. That's today's Wednesday. It looks pretty flat, so, and then Friday it starts ramping up, and then over the weekend it turns into this Armageddon there. But looking at tomorrow's, this was when I was out there, flat, calm, beautiful conditions. Ramps up a little bit up to 15 knots, a little bit of rain. Winds are coming from the south turning east. This would actually indicate a better day to go to the Gulf side, since the winds would be blocked a bit by the actual Keys. However, I've been out there and the water's pretty dirty out there, especially after some extended windy streaks. The water gets real muddy out there and fish take off because they don't like it in that conditions. Although it'll give a chance to settle, so Thursday would actually be a primo day because things will have had 2 days to clean up and things will be getting back to normal again. But I'm looking at Thursday's actually a cleaner day coming from the north, so that means the Atlantic side will be twice as calm in those normal wind conditions. So that looks good. Then I'm going to take a look at the NOAA. And NOAA I use for the Hawks channel. This is based out of the Sankey Light, and I am looking at for out to the reef, which is Hawk channels out to the Craig's Key, and tomorrow 5 to 10 knots, seas 1 foot or less, near water, smooth to a light chop. That's beautiful. Same conditions, just picks up a little bit, 1 to 2 foot on Thursday, and just to give me some leeway, taking a look at the offshore, which is out to 20 nautical miles, and 1 to 2 foot on Wednesday would be a beautiful date to get out to the do some offshore stuff, as well as Thursday, and then Friday starts ramping up 2 to 4 foot, and then 3 to 6 and 4 to 7. So next 2 days definitely, with a Friday being pretty much the cutoff. So even that's a shot. If I had the parts, I'd be out there for sure, but what it's looking at, because of my motor being kind of so, I think I'm going to stay within the reef line. That'll indicate a pretty good opportunity, basically probably to do some reef fishing out here. Either we'll see how the motor's running. It did really well today, so I might run out to the patch reefs first. If I'm really running good, then I'll make it out to the main reef, and then if it's still solid, I'm feeling comfortable that I'm going to be able to make it back home, then I'll maybe set up on the outside reef there. And I'm not going to ring the extra 5 miles to the offshore stuff, but that'll get me out into some fun fishing. Fishing's been rough lately, so this will be a good day to just catch a bunch of stuff. I'll bring my top and bottom rods because I'm not going to be keeping any fish, so I'll do a little bit of yellowtailing, and then I'll catch some larger baits and then put one under a balloon and one on the bottom and see if I can catch some bigger stuff there, and that'll keep things a little bit more interesting. But that seems like a good plan there. I would do the Gulf side, except we've had that consecutive periods of windy conditions, and usually what happens is the waters get really dirtied up, and it takes a good 2 days of just calm winds for the clarity to come back. And honestly, the fish don't like that muddy conditions, so most of those that are used to the clear water bail out and go in search of clear water out to the Gulf. And the inshore stuff, the flat stuff, is just barren. So if it was maybe Thursday, good time would probably be Friday, then I might go back out to the Gulf side. But anyways, that's a plan for tomorrow. I think I'm gonna go grab a couple blocks of chum. I saw a lot of bait being worked out there on the flats this evening, so I should be able to go out and cast net either some pilchards, or I would prefer is a bunch of glass minnows to use for additional chum as well as bait, and then head out to the reef side, anchor up, put the chum out, and then just do some fun fishing out there. So anyways, I think that is the plan, and I'll check one more time tomorrow morning and just to make sure, but otherwise that looks like the plan of the day. The other thing I take in consideration is my YouTube video rotations. I try not to do the same type of targeted fish as well as the same locations more than once a week. So I'm trying to constantly keep revolving different things just to keep things interesting for you guys as well as for me. So that is the other indicator of what my choices are. So anyways, that is what I plan on doing. Thanks for watching.